Hello BookTube, hello friends, welcome to Lizzie Faye Loves Books. I'm Elizabeth, and in this video I'd like to give you some, not necessarily recommendations, more like possibilities for one of the prompts for March Mystery Madness. Now I hope by now that you have watched the announcement videos, maybe you have found some new to you booktubers who read the type of mysteries you like and you've subscribed to them at this point, and I hope you have. If you haven't, I hope that you will check out the list of subscribers. We are putting together a little montage of all of the hosts introducing themselves, and I think that's going to be on Sarah's channel, The Bookish Knitter, and that'll just give you, in a nutshell, a quick look at all of the hosts in case you don't have time to, one at a time, go and look at all of their channels. But I want to call your attention, especially today, to one of the hosts who is a new host this year. In fact, her very first booktube video was her March Mystery Madness TBR from last year, and that is Janelle from Too Fond of Books. Now, ever since we decided on what the prompts were going to be for March Mystery Madness this year, Janelle has been hard at work going through her extensive mystery library, and she has a fantastic mystery library and is an expert on all things mystery. But she's been going through her extensive mystery library and pulling out all the books that fit each of the prompts, and she has made a separate video for each prompt. Now, I may not get that ambitious, but one of the prompts I kind of thought was more challenging than some of the others was the very first prompt, which is single. And because that one seemed a little more challenging to me, I watched her video and I was already kind of thinking on what I would read, and I probably won't share with you in this video what specific book is on my TBR, and I'm not going to show it to you today because I don't even have it yet. It's at the library waiting for me. But it is one that Janelle mentioned in her video. I'll just give you that clue. Although she mentioned a lot. And surprisingly, there are a lot more single word titled mysteries than I even realized. And as I went through my shelves and looked on my Kindle at my book catalog, I found some that I had forgotten about, or it just didn't even register that, oh yeah, that's a single word title. And a couple of them are even first in series. So I will tell you the ones that I've read. Most of the ones I'm going to show you are ones that I have not read. That's why I'm telling you they're just possibilities, because they fit the single word title prompt, and a couple of them are ones that I might decide to read instead of the one that I already have on my TBR, or maybe in addition to. I don't know. And they're not all cozy mysteries. I know that I have a lot of cozy mysteries, and that's what I tend to talk about the most in the way of mysteries on my channel. And I do have some, but I have a few that I would consider mysteries that are on the darker, creepier side of things. And there are some that are Native American in nature, because I am part Choctaw, and so I tend to gravitate towards Native American things. And one series that I think are probably romantic suspense, or even slightly inspirational, maybe. I don't know. I haven't read them yet, but I think they would fit. So let's just get started. I think since what you expect of me is cozy mysteries, we'll start there. And one that I had kind of forgotten about, and this is, oh goodness, 9th in the series or 11th or something, but it turns out this is the one I'm up to. This is Unraveled by Maggie Sefton, and this is the Knitting Mysteries, or Kelly, what is her name? Kelly Flynn Knitting Mysteries. And these take place in Colorado, and I have read up to this point, so this is the next one that I'm up to, and I may just decide to pick this up and read it. I don't know. I haven't loved the last 2 or 3 as much as I did the first several, and my sister's been reading them as well, and I think she kind of said the same thing. So I don't know. I'm gonna definitely still plan on finishing the series, but you could start with this one if you just can't find anything else to read. They are set in a yarn shop in Colorado, and the main character lives in a cottage that is on the adjoining property, and it just kind of goes from there. So, you know, I think you could probably pick one up and read it. And so if this sounds interesting to you and you like to knit and want to read something about knitting, you could read Unraveled by Maggie Sefton. And then another series that I've started. I've only read the first one, and I think you could also read this series out of order as well, because my sister has. In fact, I read the first one and then I sent it to her and she goes, "Oh yeah, I read some of those. Okay, that'll be fun to go back and read the first one." So the series is the Needlework Mysteries by Monica Ferris, and the two I have here that are single word titles are let's see, they are books 7, which is Cutwork. And then I believe this is book, 13, Blackwork. And so both of these would work for single word titles if you want to start a series in the middle and pick that up. The first one is called Cruel World. Cruel spelled Crewel, because it's embroidery or needlework mysteries. And I understand, though, that the first one was just kind of your standard mystery, and then my sister tells me that as the series goes along, they tend to get a little bit supernatural. So if that sounds interesting to you, then you could pick that up. The first one didn't really have any supernatural elements, so I guess that kind of evolves as you go through the series. And then one I forgot about, I had on my shelf. I have not started this series, and the very first book in the series is called Steamed, which is a single word title. This is by Jessica Conant-Park, who also has written dog mysteries, and another woman who could be a sister, could be a daughter, I'm not sure, Susan Conant. They wrote these together, and I think it's a series of 5, and they are Gourmet Girl Mysteries. So the first one is Steamed, so you could read this one and start a new series. And then another one that is from the Annie's Attic Mysteries. This is book 24, and I don't know anything about this series. I have not read any of these. I think my sister has read the Annie's Quilting Mysteries, but I don't know if she's read any of these just regular Annie's Attic Mysteries. Anyway, this is Jazzed, and all of these books, from what I've read about them, are about different things that are found in an attic of this house. I don't know if it's a boarding house or a manor house or a old plantation house. I'm not even sure. I should have looked at that. But it also has to do... Oh, I don't know. I shouldn't even tell you. I don't like to read the back of things, but I don't like to read to you. So, anyway, take a look at this and see. I don't know if it's the kind of series you could start in the middle or not. But it was on my shelf, and it's a single word title. It's the only one of that series that has a single word title. Okay, then one other one. I don't have the actual book that's a single word title, but I just picked this up. You may have seen this in my vlog where I was doing some book shopping at the Orlando Public Library. So this is book 1 of a series by Mollie Bryan. The book is called Scrapbook of Secrets, but I noticed that book 2 is a single word title. It's called Scrapped. And I think there's a couple of you who may be watching me right now that are planning to read Scrapped for this prompt for March Mystery Madness. And then that may be all for the cozies. This one I don't think you would count as a cozy. It is probably more of a, well, it's definitely a Native American theme, and the main character is a law enforcement officer. But this is by Jean Hager. She has a couple of mystery series that are about Cherokees, and I believe they take place in Oklahoma. And this is, I'm trying to see which one this is. One of them is Mitch Bushyhead, and one is Mollie Bearpaw, and I still have not figured out which one this is. I should have... Oh, my goodness. Okay. Anyway, this is the first of a series. It's called Ravenmocker, and it is Native American, about Cherokees, and it's about, I believe, a tribal police officer. It's blurbed by, I think it's blurbed by Tony Hillerman. I know that he has, I think he has said something about the Jean Hager series. This one is about Mollie Bearpaw. Okay, there we go. First one in the Mollie Bearpaw series, I think, is only a series of 4 books. The Mitch Bushyhead series is 5 books, I believe. It also has a single word title in for one of the books, but I think it's book 3, and I don't own it. So I'm not even going to try to tell you the title because I don't have it. And then another one that's by a law enforcement officer. This series is pretty long, and I've only read the first one. It's by Nevada Barr. It's the Anna Pigeon Mysteries, and Anna Pigeon is a National Park Ranger. So the first one is Track of the Cat, and I read that just last month. In fact, we chatted about it I read it for book club, and the reason I even have this book is because I was going to give this as a door prize last month, and I forgot to. So today, as I'm filming this, it is our mystery book club again, and that's kind of why I wanted to go ahead and get this done today, because I want to go ahead and take this and give this as my door prize today. And anyway, so this is book 14, I believe. 11. No, sorry, this is 11. Okay, yeah. This is book 11, Flashback. Sorry, I'll get myself straight here. Where the number 4 came in is that the number 4 book in the series is called Firestorm. So that's a single word title. And then books 15 and 16 in the same series also have single word titles. So if this is a series that you're reading and you want to grab one of these single word title books to read for March Mystery Madness, you could. Book 15 is called Borderline, and book 16 is called Burn. And those are all from the Anna Pigeon series by Nevada Barr. Now, I didn't love the first one. I liked it okay. I liked the story, but Anna and I just didn't get along. She was a little too cynical for my taste. I'm hoping that there'll be some growth in her character throughout the series, and so I will definitely read some more in the series. But anyway, for now, I just wanted to let you know that there are 4 books in this series that have a single word title. And then I mentioned some Native American, and I should have done these in order, but I have this other series that has some, I believe has some Native American archaeological themes. I first picked up book 3 in this series, and the series is by Mary Anna Evans, and it's the Faye Longchamp series. I picked up the 3rd one because it does have something to do with an Indian mound, and it's called Effigies. So this is book 3, but I have since then collected the first 2, and they all have single word titles. So the first one is Artifacts, and Faye Longchamp, from what I've read, because I have not read the books yet, she is she's going to be going to school to be an archaeologist, so I'm assuming that throughout the series she will continue to that end. And so these are archaeological in nature. In this first book, she is the owner of a plantation house that was has been passed down to her from her great-great-grandmother, who was a freed slave. And so it says in the blurb that no one really knows how her great-great-grandmother came to be the owner of the plantation, but now she's trying to save it, and because these books are archaeological in nature, I'm assuming that that is going to come to play in the mystery of it all. So these are the Faye Longchamp Mysteries, and book 2 is called Relics, and then book 3 is Effigies. I think there are more than this. These are the only ones I have, and they are all single word titles. And then to get to a couple of creepier ones, I think are just more, I don't know, thrillery kind of things, darker ones. This one, I have no idea what it's about. You have maybe seen this up on my shelves, because this has been here. The only reason I own this is because we talked about possibly reading this for book club a couple of years ago, and I saw it on a bookshelf somewhere for sale, and I bought it. And this just sounds weird, but I believe it is a mystery. At least it's more suspense. It's called Nutshell by, I guess it's Ian McEwan, and the witness to the plot is an unborn fetus. Okay, I told you it sounded weird, but anyway, I own it, and I think it would count as a mystery, and it's a single word title. Then I have one here that I think is a supernatural mystery with some Christian themes to it. It is House by Frank Peretti and Ted Decker. I have not read this, but I hear that this is pretty creepy. And then I have a middle grade book that I believe would count as a mystery. I looked it up, and it's called Saturnalia by Paul Fleischman. Paul Fleischman is a Newbery Award-winning author, as well as his father, Sid Fleischman. Sid Fleischman was the author of The Whipping Boy, which is one of my favorite Newbery winners. Anyway, this is set in the Revolutionary War time. It's a middle grade book, and it looks like there is a mystery involved. So I'm going to say, if you want to read this for middle grade March and count it for your single word title for March Mystery Madness, then this might be an option. And speaking of middle grade mysteries, I am going to be doing a separate video on that, and I believe I'm going to have an old booktube friend to join me who also likes to read middle grade mysteries, and that will be coming hopefully in a couple of weeks. And then, since I mentioned middle grade, let me go ahead and mention a couple of YA sci-fi fantasy type books that definitely have a mystery element. One of them I've read and I don't have it. It's the first in a trilogy. I wouldn't say that books 2 and 3 are mysteries. Definitely the first one is, but I only own books 2 and 3. Well, I bought them to give to my daughter Katie, and I couldn't even find book 2 is somewhere in her room. Anyway, I just picked this up at a library sale the other day in that same vlog that you may have seen. This is Alone by Scott Sigler. This is not the one I'm recommending. I want you to read the first one, which is Alive. It is definitely very mysterious. You don't know what is happening until right at the end. I will tell you though, without spoiling anything, at the risk of spoiling anything, but let me just say, this, not this book, but the first one, Alive, would work for the very last prompt. So that's all I'm going to say on that. Then this one I have on my shelf, and it sounds mysterious. It's also a time travel adventure, Passenger by Alexander Bracken. I have not read this, but from the description I've read, I think this could count as a mystery. So I'm going to throw that out there as a possibility. And then let's go back around full circle and talk about romantic suspense. All right, I have some of a series here that are not only romances, romantic suspense, they are also Amish themed. It's a series of 4 books. I've got 3 of them. So I would like to propose to you, you could read the first one from March Mystery Madness called Hidden. It's by Shelley Shepherd Gray. Then for Amish in April, you could go to the second book, Wanted, and then at some point during the year, you could read Forgiven, which is book 3, and then at Christmas time, you could read the last book, Grace. This is a series of 4 books by Shelley Shepherd Gray. The first couple, at least, definitely look like they could count as romantic suspense, and so I have not read these. I have read some Shelley Shepherd Gray and really enjoyed them, so if you would like to find something a little on the lighter side, but with a little bit of a mystery element, then you might give one of these a try. And that is about all I have for this video. I think I have shown you everything I have here. Now, I did want to just mention a couple of others. One that Janelle mentioned in her video was Heresy by S.J. Paris. Now, she only talked about Heresy, which I have not read, but I have read the 3rd book in the Giordano Bruno series. It's set way back in like the 15 or 1600s or maybe even 1300s. I don't know. It's a long time ago. And almost all of the books in that series are single word titles. And I have only read the 3rd one, which is Sacrilege, but I have been meaning to go back and pick back up with the first one, which is Heresy. The 2nd book is Prophecy. The 4th book is Treachery, then Conspiracy, then Execution. There are a couple of others in the series and a couple of novellas that have that are not single word titles, but most of the main books in the series are single word titles. And so that is definitely a series with a lot of possibilities for this prompt. And then one I had kind of forgotten about, but it is a series that I've read, and they are more crime drama, not really mysteries, but there is some suspense involved. That's the Jane Whitefield series by Thomas Perry. Book number 6 is called Runner, and all the other books have more than one word in the title, but that is a series that I think you could read out of order. And in fact, I started with book 3, and then I went back and read them in order after that. And it is a series that I thoroughly enjoyed. Also has Native American ties. Jane Whitefield is a Native American woman from New York who helps people disappear. They are involved in crime in some way. Maybe they're innocent victims, or maybe they're not so innocent, but they are in danger, and she helps them disappear. And there is usually some kind of mystery element that comes out, and some twists and turns, and it was just a fascinating series, and I finished the whole series, and I loved it. So, single word title, Runner by Thomas Perry. And that is everything I have for you in the way of single word titles. Be sure you check out Janelle's video. Her channel is Too Fond of Books. I will link her particular video about single word titles in this in the description of this video, and then that'll help you find her channel if you haven't already. And then you can check out all of her other videos about any other prompts you may be having a hard time with, or just for fun, watch them all because they're great. And one thing I did want to bring up that I don't think she mentioned in her single video, but she did in most of her others, is that you can also use the exact word of the prompt in the title. So I did a little search and just to see if I could find any mysteries with the word single in the title. And I found one that I don't know anything about, so I'm not recommending this in any way, but it was by Emily Carpenter, and I think it was called Every Single Secret. And it looks like it is a psychological thriller. So that would certainly count for March Mystery Madness, just having the word single in the title. That counts. So that is all I have for you for this video. I hope you are having a great day. Read a good book, and God bless you.